This video is for the guy that feels insecure, that doesn't really speak up as much, doesn't share his ideas, is the last person to put his hand up in class. You tend to freeze often in conversations or when people ask you for your opinion. And in general, you don't really feel like you're cut out for success or entrepreneurship. So in this video, I want to show you practical steps on how you can build self-confidence to the point where you naturally speak up, you believe in your opinions, your ideas, you have no problem sharing them anymore. Plus, you actually believe that you have what it takes to succeed in whatever it is that you want to succeed in, and whether to succeed as an entrepreneur as well. And I'm not going to tell you to do like, I don't know, awkward stuff like doing push-ups in public or stuff like other, people might be telling you to build confidence and stuff like this. No, no, no. You can just do this from your normal environments. You can do this from home. You can do this from school, wherever it is that you hang around, wherever you go on a daily basis. That's all you need. Let's start by talking about where self-confidence or high self-esteem comes from in the first place. And when you really break it down, it comes down to two factors. It comes down to your inner dialogue, what you tell yourself, and it comes down to how competent or independent you are. And this is not something that people are born with. This is not something that is genetic or that you get from your parents or anything. This is something that is developed, and to be honest with you, it has a very, very big part to do with your upbringing and your parents. So I'm guessing if you're here, that probably means that your parents did not really give you a great inner dialogue. They did not really tell you that you were amazing and that you could do everything when you were younger. They probably put a lot of limitations upon you, and chances are high that you've been pampered a lot as well, and they were probably a little bit overprotective, which has caused you to be the way that you are right now. And I just want to know that this is not permanent, right? You can change this, and we're going to talk about the practical steps that you can take to change this, so you don't have to worry about that. The first step, the first part of it, is you need to change your inner dialogue. So like I said, when you were younger, if you actually think about it, you've probably heard a lot of negative inner dialogue, right, from your parents. Maybe they didn't believe that you were good enough in maths, or maybe they didn't believe that you were confident. Like, oh, like I hear so many parents nowadays that are like, oh, my son has autism, my son has ADHD, my son has ADD, my son is shy, my son is this, my son is that. And if you, as a parent, are putting so many limitations upon your child, eventually, well, other people around, like the teachers, their peers, are going to start treating them that way, and then that's what they're going to believe about themselves. And this is not the fault of the child at all. I used to be a judo sensei, and I've had many experiences like this, and there would always be like, from time to time, a parent that's like, just so you know, my son has autism. And I'd always be like, sure, okay. And I guess like they always thought that I would treat them differently in a way, and I would pamper them more. Like, I have no idea, man. I would always treat them the exact same as I would treat other kids. And to be honest with you, I did not, notice any big problems at all. Yeah, sure. There were kids that had real problems, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't say that's autism. I would say they're just spoiled brats. Typically, it has nothing to do with the child. The problem is not the child. They don't have a disease. It's just the thoughts and the inner dialogue that the parents are putting upon their child. So, but good thing is you can change that. And to be honest with you, I didn't necessarily have that. My dad did a very, very good job of, giving myself and also my siblings a very, very good inner dialogue. He would always tell us how that we were confident. He would always tell us that we were very independent. He would always tell us that we were very smart. He would always tell us that we were very hardworking, intelligent, and he would always add some proof to that. He would say, like, I can tell that you're very confident because of the way that you stand, right? Because when, for example, when someone stands with like this, with arms open, it means that the person is unfazed, the person is confident, opposed to someone being like this, right? That's a person that's scared and insecure. And he would point out stuff like this, or that when we have good grades, he would always really like reinforce those beliefs. So obviously we grew up to be very, very confident, right? And have very high self-esteem, very high self-worth. We knew that we were smart, we knew that we were confident, and not only just because it was like fairy tale. No, he would actually give us proof. And you need to do the same thing with yourself. For example, right now there's still limiting beliefs that I have surrounding many different things, that I have to intentionally go back and change. So, and the way I do that is, first and foremost, step number one is you need to write down what is limiting you, right? What are the beliefs that you are having, the things that you believe that are not serving you, they're actually holding you back, right? So, for example, let's look at it from an outreach or like from an entrepreneurial perspective. If you're a freelancer, you may think that cold email is dead. That's a belief that I used to have. Cold email doesn't work. Everybody is cold emailing, so it's saturated, et cetera, right? If you believe that, then how are you ever going to make it work? You cannot outperform your own mind. So if you want to have any type of success, you need to start rewiring your brain, and you need to actually start telling yourself the opposite. Because when you start telling yourself like outreach is the best way to get clients, outreach is the best, outreach is the best, outreach is the best, cold email, you will start looking for ways to have success with cold email. Because if you don't even believe that it can work, then you're not even going to find solutions. You're not even going to look. That's what it's all about. You need to show yourself that it's possible first. You need to start believing in it so that your mind will start to look for opportunities. That's the first step. Second thing you can do is add elements of proof. So first and foremost, of course, I recommend starting small so that it's easier for yourself to take actions, so that you can start to trust yourself again, right? You can start to build trust and confidence in yourself that you can do it, but you need to start small. If you tell yourself like, I'm going to like make $1 million by next week, whatever, like something, I'm just giving you a crazy example, but you don't achieve it, then what does that do to your confidence? It actually like gives you a hit, and you lose like life points and self-confidence. But for example, if you say, I am going to watch one video on cold outreach, cold email this week, and you do it, then suddenly, even if it's a small action, suddenly your self-confidence goes up a little bit, right? I'm going to clean my room this week. Confidence goes up a little bit. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to just do 10 pull-ups, right? I'm not going to do anything else. Just 10 pull-ups. You go to the gym, you do 10 pull-ups, self-confidence goes up a little bit, right? You start to trust yourself, you start to have more self-confidence, but you need to start small, right? You need to give yourself proof that you can do it. And the more you start doing this, the more you start believing yourself, believing your mind again, to start taking action. And then you can like build upon this, and almost this will have like compounding interest, right? Because I'm sure you can think of, at least one, two, maybe three people that, talk a lot, and they're saying that they're going to do this, they're saying that they're going to do that, I'm going to achieve this, achieve that, and they never do. They never do. So every time when they open their mouth, you probably already think like, oh God, like what now? You do not believe that anything that they say is going to come to fruition. Why? Because they have proven it not to be true. But the same is true with yourself, right? You need to be careful what you say, what you put out there, and what you actually deliver on. So you need to be very, very careful with your words and start to always deliver on your word, even if it's just a promise to yourself. Anyway, that's a very, very big factor on how to build self-confidence, okay? And that is a big factor on how you can force yourself to believe in yourself again. And that's exactly why I also created like a 21-day consistency challenge, right? Which is basically where I want to help people start taking small, consistent actions for at least 3 weeks so that you can prove to yourself that you can do it, and that you can start to change your mind slowly, right? Slowly, because that's how you build self-confidence, and that's how you can start with small actions and get into bigger ones. Because I think people, they throw themselves into way too big projects, or they like overthink it so much that they never take any action. So that's why I created that challenge. If you want to take a look at that, you can check that in first link in the description. Anyway, you need to stop the negative inner dialogue. That's the main point. Now let's talk about step two. Step two is all about building independence, because this is another part that even studies have shown make children a lot more self-confident and give them a very, very high self-esteem is to be independent, not completely to the point where they're like go get their own place at 7 years old, and not to that ridiculous extent. But my parents actually did this quite well. Basically, they made us do almost everything ourselves. Like when I was a child, anywhere from like 3 to 5 years old, we were choosing our own clothes. We were like making our own suitcases if we went on a school camp or stuff like this. We were like writing our own forms and doing our own signatures in journals for school, because you had to like have your parents sign off your school journal every week. But me and my brother, we would always just do it ourselves. To a degree, there's like this fine line between like abandonment, but on the other end, we were forced to be very independent, and we really knew how to think on our own and how to find solutions, how to get things done essentially without, someone doing it for us, right? Maybe we would have to ask for help for other people or teacher, maybe our parents, be like, hey, can you, I did this part, can you please help me with this other thing that just like no idea, right? But we were very, very independent, and that is actually a big part of having a high self-esteem. And I even have like a little sister, half sister, so she has the same father, different mother, but I see the exact same thing with her. Like she can do so much stuff on her own, and her self-esteem and confidence is so high that I can see the clear pattern here. However, now I'm not recommending, like, I don't know what your situation is right now, but I'm not saying that you need to like get out of the house, get your own place, start paying your own bills right away, right? That's not what I'm saying. However, I do recommend that you start by taking responsibility over small things, right? So, for example, if your parents are always cooking for you, doing all your laundry, doing all your forms, I don't know, making your suitcases, God, I hope not. Start taking control over those smaller things, right? Say to your mom, like, hey, like, how do I wash these clothes? I want to wash these clothes myself, whatever. Or maybe like cook a dish for yourself. Like, start taking control yourself. Start taking responsibility over small stuff and learn how to be independent. Not necessarily in an extreme way, but just from small things. Because again, it will show you that you can do this. You can take care of yourself. You can find solutions to problems. You can be creative. That's what you want to show yourself. You want to prove yourself that you can do it, because it just helps so much in contributing to like the self-belief, right? You believe in yourself that you can do it. That's what's so important. So yeah, these are the two main components to self-discipline and high self-esteem that I have seen throughout my life and my siblings' lives, and that I believe you can build for yourself. So let's recap real quick and put it on a plate. So number one is you need to rewire your brain, and you need to change your inner dialogue, right? To be from negative and just like self-condescending to be more positive and uplifting. Second is you need to start to learn how to be independent, right? So you need to start taking responsibility over small tasks and learn how to deal with problems and find solutions to them yourself without having mommy and daddy come in and do it for you. Number three, you need to keep your word to yourself, not just other people, not just to your parents, not just to your teachers, to yourself. If you tell yourself that you are going to do something, do it, but do it small. Don't give yourself like these impossible tasks, impossible projects, impossible promises that you kind of know that you cannot deliver on. Start small, small promises, small responsibilities, but deliver on them. Actually do it so that you can prove to yourself that you are trustworthy and that you can make stuff happen when you say you will. If you want to do it together with me, check the first link in the description, and you'll find a free challenge right there inside of my Telegram community. But either way, man, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I'm posting stuff like this all the time to help you not only improve yourself and your discipline, your habits, your overall life, but also help you find your own path. Because you may want to go in a direction that is not necessarily the norm or the standard in society as a whole. And I don't believe that you should, if that is what you feel called to do. Okay. Anyway, man, I hope you liked it, and we'll catch you in the next one.